There's no way I can make this video for a number of reasons. Number one, I was going home from Trader Joe's this morning, and on what is it called, the Coffee House Sirius channel, what were they playing? Taylor Swift. I have to tell you guys, I feel so guilty. I want to like Taylor Swift, and I wish her the best continued success. She seems like a really nice, decent, smart, committed to her craft human being. But when I listen to her music, I see images of Wonder Bread. You know that Wonder White bread they used to sell when I was a kid? I see rice porridge. I see pablum. It's just so bland. Yeah, and I don't get it. By the way, this is a Seiko SLA055 on the bracelet. I'll tell you why I'm wearing it on the bracelet later on in today's presentation. So I feel guilty because I want to like Taylor Swift so much. I mean, when I hear SZA sing the acoustic version of Kill Bill, I'm crying. That's what I call music. When I hear Miley Cyrus sing her demo version of Flowers, I'm just shaking. It's so beautiful. So I can appreciate music. I'm not a jaded cynic. I'm not a disciple of nihilism. So I'm having trouble making this video just because of the guilt. Also, I'm having trouble making this video because I feel like to make today's video, my thesis is so ambitious. I feel like I need to be Alec Baldwin in the movie Glengarry Glen Ross. Always be closing. I remember there's a scene where the young Alec Baldwin looks at one of his subordinates and he says, "The watch on my wrist is worth more than your Hyundai. Get used to it, son." Not in a southern accent. I don't know why I turned into Foghorn Leghorn during that presentation. But I feel like I need to be Alec Baldwin. I also need to tell you, you probably will not be interested in this video unless you're one. There's only two kinds of people in this world, and I wish Alec Baldwin were here to tell you there's only two kinds of people in this world. Carlos and I had to talk about this. There's people who give a crap about what they wear on their wrist, and there those who don't. I'm in the first group, and that's why I'm giving this presentation, to explain to you why you are on your watch journey. That's a really ambitious claim. Why in the heck? There is a reason why you're on your watch journey, and it's twofold, and it has a lot to do with the aspirational watch. And the thing is, not anyone can get an aspirational watch, and I'll even take my claim further. Most people cannot get an aspirational watch. Let me give you an example. I knew an attorney in Bakersfield. We'll call him Robert, not his real name. And he was a playboy. You know, he had a series of superficial relationships. I mean, because he was a young man, and when you're a young man, the frontal cortex of your brain's not fully developed, so you just do stupid stuff. You treat your life with reckless disregard. If you make it to your 30s, you're lucky. So Robert did a series of superficial relationships. In fact, they were so bad that some of his former girlfriends would put posters up all over town saying, "Warning, you know, beware of this man. He's a scoundrel, blah, blah, blah." I mean, he really burned some bridges there. And then one day he fell in love with an aspirational woman. I mean, just beautiful and smart and well-grounded. But he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for it. And in that same analogy there, a lot of us are not ready for an aspirational watch. So I want to define that. Now, it's going to be hard to define this because to define the aspirational watch, I've got to go over some lexicon terms. I need to go over the word salience. Salience means something that stands out, jumps out at you, but in the context of this discussion, in a good way, in a positive way, in a beautiful way. In fact, I'm going to use a word, another lexicon term, pulchritudinous, refers to beauty in a tasteful way. Another word I need to go over is ostentatious, which is tacky, gauche, poor taste, and it comes from a, we've always had bling. We've always had ostentation in the world. You could go back thousands of years. In Latin, you can go back to the old languages. In Latin, they had the libido ostentando, and we're going to talk about the libido ostentando today. We also have to talk about a Frankenstein watch, the Frankenstein watch, which I think you should avoid. We're going to talk about the Mount Olympus effect, a good thing for your aspirational watch. We're going to talk about the quality of insouciance. I love that word, insouciance, probably French. We're going to talk about the word austerity. We're going to talk about the prophylactic effect. And we're going to talk about the houseboat party effect today, if you give me your permission. So, what I want to talk about today is what is an aspirational watch? Because the reason why you're on your watch journey is to learn about watches, to enjoy watches, to be in the wonder of watches, and to learn what an aspirational watch is for you. Remember, there's only two kinds of people in the world. People who give a crap what they wear on their wrist and those who don't. I'm not making an ethical or moral judgment on that. It just is what it is. Carlos and I had to talk about it. We don't even know why we care what kind of watch. It's the condition. It's baked into our DNA. We don't know. It's a given. So knowing what your aspirational watch isn't enough. Then you yourself as a person has to be ready for the aspirational watch. And from my experience, and I can even speak to myself, most people are not ready to get an aspirational watch. So let's go over some qualities of an aspirational watch. Now, this Seiko SLA055, in my opinion, is an aspirational watch. It has the quality of salience. It stands out. It leaps out at you in a good way, in a tasteful way. It's pulchritudinous. It's beautiful. It's not ostentatious. Okay, what is ostentatious? Look, man, if you're young, you don't really know the real meaning of ostentatious. I am old enough. I lived in the disco age. The disco age was an ostentatious age. It was very juvenile. It was so juvenile, the number one hit song by Casey and the Sunshine Band was Shake, Shake, Shake Your Booty. And it was on all the time. It was on the radio. He was featured on New Year's Eve with Dick Clark, his band. When Shake, Shake, Shake Your Beauty is the number one song, you know you've arrived at the golden nugget of ostentatious America. It gets better. I used to be a bouncer at a discotheque. You want to talk about ostentation? You should have seen some of the wardrobes. Angel flight pants, giant lapels. My favorite, though, platform shoes with clear heels, huge clear heels, transparent, with water in them and goldfish swimming in them. If that's not a cry for help, I don't know what is. There are watches that are the equivalent of those disco platform shoes. That's called ostentatious. When you need to show off, that's called the libido ostentando. You're not ready for an aspirational watch if you're buying a watch to show off. You buy a watch because your illness, your watch sickness, demands that you get a watch that you feel is the perfect fit for you, regardless of what anyone else thinks. And I want to elaborate on that a little bit more. Oh, the Frankenstein Effect. An aspirational watch never has the Frankenstein Effect. The Frankenstein Effect is when a watch is made of lots of disparate parts. It was almost like it was made by a committee of buffoons. None of them could agree on what the good layout was, and they were just, I need to go to lunch, I need to go to dinner, let's just end this. And then the committee of buffoons, it's like, it's got little pieces here and there. It doesn't look good as a whole. Let me give you a comparison. 95% of cars that are on the road right now, they look like Frankenstein cars, or they just look like eggs on wheels, and I don't like them. I like the Toyota Crown. It looks like a very beautiful pulchritudinous. I like the lines on that. I would get a Toyota Crown. I might have to get one. I might have to get a Toyota Crown, which I think is the cop car in Tokyo. I believe so. So I want that quality. What's the opposite of the Frankenstein effect? I call it the Mount Olympus effect. When Prometheus climbs up Mount Olympus and he brings back luxury watches to us mortals, These watches have a beautiful quality to them. They don't look like they were ever created. They look like they were always there. He just took what was always there. Kind of like the artist. Sometimes a songwriter will say, I don't even know if I wrote the song. I was just a conduit for a song that always existed. I feel that the best watches have that quality to them. The Mount Olympus effect. The other quality I love about an aspirational watch is insouciance, which means you have casual disregard for other people's opinions. In other words, your watch has this quiet self-confidence about it that suggests or implies that you have a casual disregard for other people's opinions. Why? Because you have a quiet confidence about you. I went to high school with a girl. She was a cheerleader. Everyone had a crush on her, not just because she was cute and attractive, but because she had this quiet confidence about her. God, everyone had a crush on her. I'm still her friend. She's married with children. She's still the same gracious person today that she was back in high school. And she had this sort of insouciance about her manner. You know, high school kids are bragging and talking, yap, yap, yap. She just kind of, you could tell she was kind of removed from all that. And she had a real confidence about her. Super smart. Oh, my God. Not surprising. She became an engineer, went to Berkeley. Anyways, I don't want to say too much, then you'll track her down. Okay, now, insouciance. Austerity. You know what got me thinking of the word austerity for the quality of an aspirational watch? Carlos has pre-ordered, so he's going to be having it soon, the Tudor Black Bay Monochrome. And I've been looking at it online, and I hope to see it when he visits his daughter here in Torrance. I hope to see him. I'd like him to come to my house so I can do a short video on it. But maybe we'll just meet in a coffee shop. I don't know. We'll see. But when I look at it, one of the words that comes to mind is austere. And a voice in my head says, is this too austere for you? And my rebuke to that is that don't ever undersell an austere watch. Don't ever bet against an austere watch. Usually austerity is a good thing. Usually austerity points to confidence and timelessness and classic design. My guess is that a lot of people will buy the Tudor Black Bay Monochrome because of its austerity. And I think it could be a keeper. And interestingly, Carlos got it with the Jubilee. Part of me agrees with him on that. I'm torn by the Jubilee or the Oyster, but I could understand. It's almost so austere. You almost want the 5-link Jubilee to balance off some of that austerity. But austerity is a quality not to be underestimated when it comes to your aspirational watch. Ooh. Let me give you another characteristic of the aspirational watch. It gets real-world wrist time. You wear it all the time. And in that regard, you wear it so much that it kind of protects you from buying other watches because you like it so much. You know, I put this back on the bracelet after Carlos told me he ordered the Tudor Black Bay Monochrome, because having this on the bracelet, it becomes my luxury watch, my aspirational watch. And it kind of serves as a prophylactic from me buying other watches. We call this the prophylactic effect. You wear a watch for protection. I wear this, I'm Captain America with my shield. I'm repelling bullets and such, or temptations to buy new watches. So I hope you understand what an aspirational watch is. Now for the bad news. Most people are not ready to get an aspirational watch. Let me explain what you need to get an aspirational watch. First, you need a baseline of knowledge. You can't just be new to the watch hobby and buy an aspirational watch. You need to know all the brands, all the styles. You need to know your taste. You even need to know, I believe, and you can disagree with me here, I believe you need to have made some big mistakes in your watch journey. Otherwise, let me have a beverage. Otherwise, you won't learn. I think you need to have been burned and hit hard. You know, that time when you buy a watch and it doesn't look like what it looked like on the internet and you get flop sweat? You need to go through that a few times. You need to have gone down some negative rabbit holes. And so, you got it. I mean, how long does it take to reach that level of knowledge? I don't know. I don't know, you do a deep dive, but to go through the whole process of buying watches and getting burned and learning, I don't know, man, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Tell me in the comments section how long it takes. I don't have a number. I don't have a number. Everyone's different in that regard. I remember when I learned classical piano, people were shocked how quickly I learned the whole classical repertoire. Not to play, but I just knew, I knew who the composers were. I had encyclopedic knowledge within like less than a year. I became obsessed back in the early 80s. Here's everything. I want to talk about the Tudor Black Bay Monochrome again. A lot of people are going to buy it, not because they aspire to it, but because of the libido ostentando. They don't want to miss out on it. They see that everyone else is getting it, even though they don't have a deep knowledge of watches. And I call this the houseboat party effect. You look at everyone buying a certain watch, and it reminds me of when my father used to take me out on his boat in the 90s. There would be houseboats nearby with parties, and I'd be all sad. I want to be on the houseboat party, Dad. I want to be over there. And a lot of people are going to buy the Tudor Black Bay Monochrome because it's the houseboat party that they want to be invited to. Now, Carlos is not that dude. Carlos has been a fan of the Tudor Black Bay model for a decade. He's bought a few models, and they never quite worked for him. Like the Tudor Black Bay 41 was too thick. It was too top heavy. The Black Bay Pro, which he had, was too top heavy. And he didn't like the coloration on him. He thinks this Black Bay Monochrome is going to be the it watch. I feel badly, though, for Carlos, because he's going to ride off into the sunset and he won't be part of our dialogue anymore. What's going to become of him? No, I'm sure he'll find some way to stay connected to us as he rides off into the sunset with his perfect aspirational watch. Believe it or not, this is so true. You can't buy an aspirational watch unless you have self-confidence and self-knowledge. You need to know who you are. You know, last night my wife and I watched a comedian from England, Jimmy Carr, and I thought his performance was pretty good. It wasn't a perfect performance, but I was impressed with him and I like him, and I'll tell you what makes him so successful. He knows who he is. He has this persona, and he never, ever deviates from his persona. He knows who he is. He has self-confidence. He's a real professional. He's a real craftsman. And I admire Carlos for getting this Tudor Black Bay Monochrome because he's buying it not out of the libido ostentando, but out of a deep knowledge of the watches that are out there and what he wants, and he has the self-confidence to get it with no apologies. And not everyone's in that state. Let me tell you some scenarios where you should not buy a watch. I know people who get a divorce or they break up and they buy a fancy car. I call that a rebound purchase. And you can't buy an aspirational watch in a sort of rebound purchase context. You just can't do it. You can't do it without certain self-confidence and knowledge. If you're addicted to buying watches and you got them coming in you got like 5 watches coming in a month, your brain goes into a fever swamp, and in that state of derangement, you're not prepared to buy the aspirational watch. You're kind of like that guy, that lawyer, Robert in Bakersfield, who wasn't ready for his dream woman. She dumped him because she could tell he was damaged goods. You got to be ready. You got to be ready for it. So looking ahead, I look forward to seeing Carlos's watch. It looks like an aspirational watch. Will this watch here have the prophylactic effect and protect me from buying that Tudor Black Bay Monochrome? I don't know, but I'm very satisfied that I now understand why I'm on this watch journey. It's good to have a purpose in life and to know why we do what we do. This watch journey is about learning what is our aspirational watch and what do we have to do inside ourselves in terms of confidence, knowledge, and identity to be ready to get one when we get it. Otherwise, it's all folly. It's all foolishness. And anyways, forgive me for talking about Taylor Swift at the beginning of this. I was just depressed about it, and a lot of you guys were worried that I didn't have any focus. You were saying to yourself, who is this guy, man? What's he going to talk about today? Is he going to talk about watches? Or going to give us a Rogaine commercial? What's going on? So, forgive me. In the comments section, I would like to know, do you agree with me that there's such thing as an aspirational watch? Do you agree with my distinguishing characteristics of it? Do you agree with me that most people aren't ready for an aspirational watch unless they have the characteristics that I discussed? All right, man. I got to work out. I got to take my daughters to the dentist. I got to aspire to more watches with this on my wrist. Good luck with that. This is a beautiful watch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm out.